Yo, 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 yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We are live. Today is December the 26th. Tons of NBA action on for today. Always say, take it kind of easy on a day like today after Christmas when, you have some players that might not be as locked in based on what happened yesterday. But let's jump into the show. So yesterday, we'll start with just overall yesterday, 2-1 day. So we had another profitable day. Kind of getting back on track. I think we were 7-1, 8-2, so 9-10 and 3. I think in our last 13 bets. So seeing the board relatively good right now. Hopefully we can keep that going. Yesterday, 3 official plays for me. I talked about them on the Christmas Day show. Appreciate everybody for tuning into the Christmas Day show as well. We had the New York Knicks team total over, a little sweaty, but they do get there. And then we had OKC first quarter minus the 2.5. They came out on fire. And then Wemby came in, couldn't stop De'Aaron Fox. They ended up not being able to cover the first quarter spread, ended up losing the game outright as well. Didn't cover any of the spreads. So that was the loser. And then the other winner was Mr. Anthony Edwards, who went up and over his points with about a minute and 20 seconds left last night. The 3-point shot, the forced overtime wasn't the one that got there, but the 2 free throws did get us up and over his 27.5 points last night. So 2-1 day for myself. If you guys tell the Christmas Day plays, you went 6-2. The only loser was the only 2 losers was that one and Sam Merrill, who shot an abysmal, I think 2 for 8 from the 3-point line. But Quentin Post stayed under. The Houston Rockets were money. We did pretty good. We cleaned up on the Christmas Day slate. Hopefully you guys made some money yesterday. Don't have too much time to go through the comment section. I haven't even been through all of these games yet either, but it is a couple that I want to talk about. So we'll go to those, man. Appreciate you all for tapping in. iFan Win joined as a member. I appreciate that as always. Prolific says, good morning, Chris, catching you live. While P9 is while your son is sleeping. Okay. Nice to hear that. Top of the morning, Lightbearer. Tommy says, good morning, fellow cappers and D-Gens. Let's get paid. Absolutely. Good morning, Jay Carter says, good call on Ant-Man. Lightbearer says he cashed yesterday. Tommy throwing some looks in the chat. OKC can't stop the Spurs. I got a lot of comments on that, but I'm gonna keep those for later. Good morning, Algina. She says, good morning, Chris and chat. Lakers blew my over 230. No fight at all. Yeah, absolutely. I want nothing to do with the Lakers right now. That's my team. I want nothing to do with the Lakers. I've seen this show before. Let's jump into it for today. So we'll start off with JaXon. JaXon was free yesterday. Hopefully you guys take advantage of that. As far as the plays that JaXon gave out yesterday that I had for the show, 1-1 day, 1-1 split. Houston minus the 2.5, 1.5. It don't matter what number you got. That was easy yesterday. That was the gift that keeps on giving, that Lakers defense. And then OKC and San Antonio over the 231. End up staying under because, OKC couldn't score the basketball yesterday. Spurs scored, but OKC couldn't. So over 231 was a loser. As far as today, I asked JaXon a similar prompt, but I wanted to switch it up just a tad bit. So the prompt is let's see. So I asked JaXon for So I asked JaXon for the top NBA bet and NBA spread bet for today based purely off the cleaning the glass data, because I scrape a lot of the cleaning the glass data to come up with my own spreadsheets, and they take out things like heaves and all of the garbage minutes at the end of games. So I like their statistical data a little bit better, and JaXon has access to be able to pull from clean the glass. So JaXon tells me that the best spread bet on the board for today is actually Detroit minus the 9.5. It says the Detroit Pistons are currently the most undervalued elite team in the NBA. While the market is treating them as a standard favorite, their efficiency metrics suggest that they are a juggernaut. Facing the Utah Jazz team that's statistically one of the worst defensive units in the league, the spread is far too low. So net rating, Detroit's a plus 6.9, which is 4th. Utah's a minus 7.3, which is 27th. Defensive rating, 110.2. For the Detroit Pistons and a 121.5, which is 29th for the Utah Jazz. Expected win, 60.6 for Detroit, which is 3rd. Utah Jazz, 23.2, which is 27th. Offensive rebound percentage, the Detroit Pistons 2nd, 36.1, and the Utah Jazz, 30.3, which is 10th. So it says two elite two-way play. So the Detroit Pistons aren't just winning, they're dominating. They're 4th in net rating, second in defensive rating. The ability to force turnovers, third in turnover percentage, allow and dominate the glass, second in offensive rebound, to create a massive possession advantage. Detroit defensive collapse. So I'm sorry, the Jazz defensive collapse. Utah is currently a defensive. Utah is currently a poor defensive team, ranking 29th in defensive rating. They have allowed at least 128 points in each of their last 4 games. I saw this as well. Without Walker Kessler out for the season, they have no rim protection to stop Cade Cunningham and a Detroit offense that ranks 3rd in points per possession. The Pistons entered the game on a 7-game win. Having won 7 of their last 8 games straight up. News reports highlight that Detroit is playing with extreme confidence, recently knocking off Boston and Charlotte on the road. Cade Cunningham is playing at an all-star level, averaging 26.4 points, 9.4 assists. Conversely, Utah is trying to stop the bleeding after 4 straight blowout losses. While Utah has historically played Detroit well at home, this current iteration of the Jazz that lacks interior personnel to compete with the Detroit physicality may not be enough. The line has already moved from 10.5 down to 9.5, showing sharp respect to Detroit's road dominance. So that's the first one. The second play is on the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks over the total. So it says over 246.5. Perfect storm. This matchup features the perfect storm of high scoring for a high scoring affair. The league's fastest paced team, Miami, against the top 10 efficient offense, Atlanta, that struggles significantly on the defensive end. So track meet environment, Miami has completely shifted their identity this season, ranking number 1 in NBA in pace, 104 possessions per game. Atlanta isn't far behind, 5th at 102.7 possessions per game. This game has a massive number of possessions, which is the primary driver for the over. Elite perimeter scoring. So both teams rank top 10 in 3-point percentage at both above 37%. Atlanta specifically excels at the rim, 8th in effective field goal percentage at the rim, and their long mid-range, which is 3rd. Miami's defense, 7th overall, suggests struggles with high volume and shot generation by such a fast pace. So then there's news and matchup narrative. Atlanta news narratives centers on their explosive scoring ability. I'm just trying to figure out what makes the most sense to read. With both teams ranking in the top 15 for points per 100 possessions and both preferring to play in the open court, this game projects to be a fast-paced 250-point mark. The statistical profile of the number 1 pace and the number 6 effective field goal percentage team is a classic over scenario that the current line hasn't fully captured. So 2 plays for JaXon over with Miami and Atlanta, and Detroit minus the 9.5. Those are the 2 looks for today. Let's jump into the games that I wanted to talk about that I did get a chance to go through. Like I said, I didn't go through the whole card. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys before we talk about this game is I did look at Christmas Day games. I'm sorry, I looked at Christmas Day games for yesterday's video, but I looked at day after Christmas Day games, and I wanted to see if I could find a trend on the dog, on the favorite, on the road team, whatever the case might be. The one that stood out to me the most is just in general the over. So before we go into this game between the Raptors and the Wizards, I want to just let you guys know that since COVID, so post-COVID season, not excluding COVID, totals are 23-10 to the over, little less than 70%, 69.7%, 23-10 to the over the last 33 games after Christmas. So that was the strongest trend that I found. If you're thinking about betting unders today, it may not be the best day to do so. Just putting that out there for you guys to kind of know. Take that into your handicapping as you think about the games for today. All right, so first game up is the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. I did spend a little bit of time on this game. So start with the injury report. The Toronto Raptors will be without RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl. Murray Bowles is also listed as questionable. And then the Washington Wizards side of things, Corey Kispert and Cam Whitmore are listed as out as well. So I'm thinking about the game. I know that, I know that Toronto, I just want to see if I can find the best number real quick for what I'm about to share with you guys. Yeah, okay. All right. So I know that Toronto is kind of going through it right now. They're just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They're 10-6 straight up and against the number on the road, so they haven't bet on the road. They just took my money against the Miami Heat in the last game as well. It's actually one of the last losses that we had, and it's their third straight road game. So then I look at the Washington Wizards. Not a lot to like for the Wizards at all, even though they have taken some money in this spot. It is coming down to 7.5. Washington's only 4-8 against the spread at home. They ended up losing that game against Charlotte. Just couldn't hold on. If you want Washington, you typically want them early. They have not been a good second half team. They're the worst scoring offense in the fourth quarter. And I think if we just go over really quickly, I'll just show you guys this, and then I'll get into the player prop that I like. If we look at the Wizards, so this is the Christmas Day schedule. If we look at the Wizards, let this populate. Let's click this drop down menu. Washington. All right, so here we go. So if we look at the Wizards, if you want the Wizards, like I said, you typically want them early in the game. ATS wise, I mean, they're not covering in the first half at home either. But the longer the game goes on, the more the Wizards can't score the basketball. So you can see that they have one more cover in the first half than they do in the full game. So 10-18 against the number. Like I said, the Raptors haven't been playing great, but I thought this may, show it a little bit more. It actually does not do so in this spot right here. But if I want the Wizards, I want them early. I think the Wizards are fade late as the game goes on. The problem, in my opinion, because I can't lay points I don't want to lay points with the Raptors, not with them, missing a bunch of centers in this game. I don't really like playing Toronto without Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett. They've been a kind of shell of themselves since he's been without him as well. So ultimately, what I like in the game, we go over to really quickly. If we go over to Outlier. Just minimize myself again. I like Scottie Barnes in this matchup, man. I think we talked about this a couple times on the show before. Scottie Barnes over his rebound prop was at 8.5 last night. That's initially why I started this cap. I typically like betting on Scottie Barnes when he's playing against a pretty poor rebounding team. And also when Jakob Poeltl's not playing, Jakob Poeltl's out, you can see Scottie Barnes rebounds are up to 9.5. So then I pivoted just because I feel like if I think he's gonna get 10 boards, which I think is definitely in the realm of possibility for today, then why not just play a double-double? Scottie Barnes double-double for today is plus 10. I think it was plus 105 on FanDuel right now. Best number that you can get. It's already minus 105 on DK and BetMGM. So Scottie Barnes, like I said, with no Jakob Poeltl, he should be able to go over his rebounds. You can see this is his double-double here. You can see that he's had 2 in his last 5 games. Last 10 games here. These are his last 10 games. I'm sorry. He said, two of his last 5 games. You can see that here. But this is really just a play without Jakob Poeltl being there. We go here. We go games without players. We click in Jakob Poeltl, and 2 of his last 4 games now. Once against the Lakers, once against the Bucks. He missed it in this Boston game and Miami game, which is kind of surprising because Miami's not a great rebounding team. But I think the rebound chances will be there. You can see without Jakob Poeltl, 20, 17, 15 to 17. Potential assists should be there as well. But I'm thinking he gets it with the points, and I'm thinking he gets it with the rebounds in this game, especially without Jakob Poeltl being there. So that's the first play that I like. Quickly, I think should be able to get busy in this matchup as well. He gets a lot of his points in transition. The Wizards are one of the worst transition defenses in the NBA, as most people know. So that's my thought process on this game. If I'm betting the game, I'm betting Scottie Barnes, and I'm betting quickly in this matchup. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. See if I can go back up real quick. LaMelo 18.5. We'll talk about that game. Tommy says I actually like the Jazz plus 9.5 at home. Man says Wizards spread, Bulls money line, Jazz spread. I want to take the under 227 in Washington game, but taking the under in the Wizards game is scary. Toronto has been playing very slow though. They absolutely have. They've been going under a lot. Toronto Raptors. Their offense is just not. This hasn't been that great, but trust me, if it's an offense, a defense that you can play against to score the basketball, it's definitely this Wizards. Both of these teams are actually sort of Toronto Raptors is 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. They stay under in 6 straight games. The Toronto Raptors have, but the Washington Wizards are 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. They've gone over in 3 straight games, and when you look at the pace numbers, it may favor a little bit more towards the under. But a day after Christmas, I wouldn't bet under. Its total has come down from 234.5 though. Let's see. Prolific says, Chris, could you look what the over is in totals this season? Yeah. So real quick, just overall, I think it's probably evened itself out a little bit. But yeah, we go. Totals this season are 226, 221, and 1 to the over. So cashing about 50.4%. So yeah, not even break even if you're straight better. So that's what I thought it was too. Yeah, just 4 more overs than unders and 1 push is what this is telling me right now for this season specifically. What up, dude? Appreciate you, my brother. Happy holidays to you as well. Good morning, Fahrenheit. Appreciate you for tapping in. Lightbear says that Quentin Post call yesterday was sniper shot. Yeah, it was he's just missing shots too though. Like, but then Steve Kerr is just so crazy with his rotation, so it kind of worked out. Like he gave up a shot, he gave up a basket early, start the 4th quarter. Steve Kerr pulled him out. Trace Jackson Davis was playing well. Al Horford was coming back. That was a big part of the cap as well. So I'm glad you cashed with that, Lightbear. Tommy says Toronto's 2-5 to the under as road favorites and playing at a slow pace. That is a fact. Looking at Scotty Barnes rebounds right now. Let's ride. Yeah, I like the double more just because if I think he's going to get 10 boards, I definitely think he's going to grab 10 points as well against the Wizards. Let's see. Sam says great content, loving all the perspective and depth you do in depth. Glad you do this frequently. Yeah, I just try to share what I find, Sam. That's how I started the channel. What's up, Tyler? Hope all is well with you, man. Let me know what you think about your Magic today. Dude says took Scotty Barnes over his points. He should be able to get there, man. He should be able to get there. All right, let's go to the next game I want to talk about. Like I said, I'm not going through all of them, but I do have a quick 5-minute Q&A. If you guys have questions about some of the other games, we can look into them real quick. So the Heat and the Hawks are up next. This is down to Atlanta laying 3 now. Opened at 4 yesterday when I saw it anyway. And that total was at 244.5. It's moved up 3 points to 247.5. So on the Miami side of things, when we look at the injury report, they will continue to be without Tyler Hero. They also have Bam Adebayo listed as questionable, and Jovic is also listed as probable in this game. Atlanta was without Dyson Daniels in that last game, and we called it on the show. Atlanta laying points at home, no bueno. Don't want to do that. And Chicago, was down big in that game. They come back, not even just to cover the spread. They win the game outright the other day. Atlanta's been an absolute fade. And if something tells me Bam's gonna play, because I don't think the line's going up, and without potentially Bam not being there. But this should be a very, very good game for the Miami Heat. I was on Miami in that last game. They really, really struggled. This of course is a divisional game. We got a couple divisional games today. This is a divisional game between these 2 teams, and I think that could potentially mean something. So I looked into Miami yesterday, and they're just 6-9 against the spread on the road. They're 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. First leg of back-to-back. They got the Pacers coming to town tomorrow. Then on the Atlanta side of things, they're just 4-9-1 when they're playing in Atlanta. So 14 home games, and they've covered the spread 4 times. 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. Their defense just fell off a cliff, and they're 0-7 against the number when they're laying points at home so far this season. They have not covered a spread at all. Matter of fact, if I go over, let me just show you guys this real quick. Talking about in depth, somebody said something about being in depth. So this is the Hawks this season, and they're home favorite. So if you zoom in, I'm not sure if you guys are watching this on the big screen, but 0-7 against the number. You can see it right here. This ATS number, this column right here, you see all these L's. They are 0-7. Laying points against the Bulls, lost both of those games outright. And then here's the other thing for Atlanta. They got Trae Young back, and the defense has been worse than the Wizards. Um, that Atlanta defense is terrible, man. And they're playing first leg of back-to-back. They got the Knicks coming to town tomorrow as well. So I understand why the total's going up. I know Miami's been absolutely trash. I don't really want to bet on Miami, especially if Bam's not going to be there. But I mean, Trae Young with the Atlanta Hawks, and I love Trae Young, but the defensive rating for Atlanta is a 130.2, by far the worst in the NBA. Overall, Atlanta's played a lot of games without Trae Young. The defensive rating is a 117 on the season, 130 when Trae Young is on the floor. So somebody from Miami should be able to get busy in this game. I'm not sure who it's going to be. I wouldn't need to wait on the confirmation of Bam to be in. They do get Dyson Daniels back off the injury report. That's going to help the defense out a little bit, but no. I'm not betting the under, even though it's a super high total. And I'm not betting the Atlanta Hawks. I would need, if Bam gets in, maybe gets ruled in, I think I'm going to take a day off from betting Miami just because I feel like they burned me so bad in that last game, and I kind of want to see it with them. But I do think that they're the right side, and I agree with the money coming in here, pushing this line down from 4 to 3. I think that's my process. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Yeah, prolific. We talked about it yesterday on Twitter, absolutely, or X or whatever you guys want to call it. I've disowned the Magic. But what are our Lakers doing? Lakers are just going through the motions, man. Going through the motions, trying to figure out who's gonna get traded. I haven't been betting a lot of Laker games, and it's because I always kind of felt like it was fool's gold. Offense just was carrying them, and defensively, they've been terrible. JJ Redick called the team out yesterday. We'll see what happens at the practice on tomorrow. I think they practice tomorrow. He said it's gonna be a very uncomfortable practice, is what JJ Redick said after getting smoked last night at home on Christmas Day, after already getting smoked against the Suns. Tommy says, I know the Hawks defense is abysmal when Trae Young is on the floor. Yeah, 130.2. I wrote it down last night. What else you guys saying here? Khalil Ware for Fahrenheit says for him to get 15 points at minus 115 on Bet365, project him for 25 minutes. With 25 minutes, he's cashed 8 of his last 10, 19 points per game. Atlanta allows the 4th most points at the rim as well. Yeah, we cashed on a Jalen Duren look in this same type of matchup. If he doesn't play, that line's going to shoot up too. I actually didn't want to write that down. Now that you say that, Fahrenheit, Khalil Ware. I'm interested. I'm going to go back and compare his numbers to see if it's shaded towards Bam potentially not playing. We shall see. Let's see. Dyson Daniels over his 11.5 for Moneyman Frank. Where over his points for smoked. Dyson Daniels under 1.3, minus 125 until he starts hitting one regularly. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Next game up. Well, before we do that, do me a favor. If you are watching the stream, do me a favor, hit the like button. Especially if you're somebody that typically hits the like button and you just forgot. Smash that like button for me. Turn the notification bell on so you guys know when I go live if you don't have it already turned on, especially if you're new. And subscribe to the channel. And let's keep moving. Next game up, Charlotte Hornets and the Orlando Magic. So this line was at 6.5 yesterday. I think it actually opened at 8. Yeah, opened 8. It's coming down to 5.5 on a couple books. And looked like 6 still consensus. And we look at the injury report. The Orlando Magic side of things, this is another divisional game. So the Orlando Magic side of things, they have Tristan de Silva listed as probable, Gogo Batadze questionable, Jalen Suggs doubtful, no Mo and no Franz, of course. But then on the Charlotte side of things, no Mason Plumlee and no Ryan Kalkbrenner. And that's what held me up in this game. Like I stopped the handicap when I saw that because it's a terrible spot for Orlando. Like this is not a spot you want to be in. His first game back home after, if you include the Vegas loss against the New York Knicks in the Cup, then it's 5 straight road games for them. So first game home off a 5-game West Coast road trip and the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Denver Nuggets coming to town tomorrow. However, I didn't really want to get there with Charlotte either. I don't like that they're missing all their centers. Like, when you got to start Diabate, and he got to play heavy minutes because you don't have a backup center, to me, that's just like the Magic could potentially get right in this spot, in my opinion, based on that. So I'm looking at my numbers last night, and I actually still got this pulled up. I'm looking at my numbers last night, and I'm looking at like how poorly we know Charlotte is one of those teams where typically if they get in points, it's a little bit better to take them than you don't really want to lay too many points with them. But I'm looking at the game last night. This Orlando team has been god awful, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of lean towards Charlotte. But Orlando's a team that likes to get in the paint and take a lot of shots at the rim. We know they're not the best 3-point shooting team. They're actually bottom 5 in frequency and accuracy on the full season. They like to attack the rim. 4th in rim frequency, 13th in paint frequency. That's where they like to score the basketball. Charlotte is 27th in opponent rim frequency on the full season. Now they are 7th in opponent rim accuracy. They're 10th in opponent paint frequency. So they do a pretty good job of keeping teams out of the paint. But they're 26th in opponent paint accuracy. So when teams do get in the paint, they score the basketball. And now you're telling me that without 2 centers, I don't really want anything to do with that. These teams played already early this season. Orlando won that game, covered the number pretty comfortably in Charlotte. I think Orlando was on the second leg of a back-to-back. So that holds me up a lot. I know Charlotte is the 3rd worst defense in the half court. Orlando, wants to get out and run. Charlotte, not the greatest transition defense. They 21st in opponent transition frequency. Orlando is 2nd in transition frequency as far as like getting out and trying to run. 2nd in scoring as well in transition. So that kind of held me up to bet this game. I think I think Charlotte's the right side, but Orlando in a terrible spot. But I couldn't bet it just because I think Orlando can live in the paint in this game. It's probably a little bit more of an over game. The total has come down. It was down to 231. Now it's going back up to 232. You got to ask yourself, do you trust Charlotte to be able to score the basketball? The offense has been pretty good when they've had LaMelo and Con Knipple and Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller. So I guess I lean a little bit more towards the over. I think with those guys in, it'll be a little bit more pace as well. So Charlotte, Orlando over. This total came all the way down from 234.5 down to 231.5. It looks like there is still a couple 231.5s out there. I guess I'll write that down. I just worry about Charlotte. Charlotte's offense it's a little janky at times, man. Like they can score, but then they can't. Like that scares me a little bit. But yeah, I'll add the over to my short list. 231.5 is available on a couple of these smaller books like Ballybet and Fanatics. 232 on Caesars, I think, is the best number that you can get. I think this could be one of the overs, though. Like Orlando's offense should be able to get back right. They have not been great recently. I'll give you guys those numbers real quick as well. So, Orlando is 22nd at offensive efficiency last 5 games. 26th in defensive efficiency as well. So their offense has been terrible. Their defense has been terrible. This is what I saw last night, but I don't want Charlotte without either center. That's just the way I think about them. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Con over his 3, Smoke says. I was actually looking at fading Con Knipple last night. It's 3.5 on his 3-point prop. I did write that down in my notes, but I didn't play it just because I found some contradicting things. But yeah, Orlando is a team that runs you off the 3-point line. Con Knipple could be in for a long day in this spot specifically. I love Con. Rick reminding people hit the like button. Appreciate you, Rose. Let's see. Anthony Black over his 16.5 of Jay Carter. He's been on one since he got in the starting lineup, and Charlotte defense is trash. I couldn't talk you off of that. Could not talk you off of that. Yeah, maybe I'll look into Anthony Black a little bit more, especially if Jalen Suggs is listed as Jalen Suggs is not going to be there. He's not going to be in. He's listed as doubtful. So, yeah, I could definitely see that. Real quick, let's just look at the Magic this season without Jalen Suggs. And then I'll get to the next game. So Jalen Suggs, the Magic without Jalen Suggs are 4-5 straight up, 4-5 against the number. Most recently, they did beat the Portland Trail Blazers in their second leg of a back-to-back. Before that, they lost and didn't cover against the Warriors. Lost and didn't cover against the Jazz. Well, won and but didn't cover against the Jazz. This was the Christmas. This was the Thanksgiving, the Christmas party game on the 20th. Yeah, it went to overtime. I remember watching that. And then they lost and didn't cover against the Nuggets. Lost and didn't cover against the Celtics. So they do get a pretty easy opponent in this matchup. With Jalen Suggs this season, they're 13-8 straight up, 9-12 against the number. So yeah, this is a terrible spot in my opinion. I'm gonna stay off the game, but I think over the best play in this game, and the total has gone back up a little bit. All right, so next one up is, and it's just one more. I think the Pistons and the Jazz. So JaXon kind of talked about this one. I didn't know JaXon was going to talk about it, but I kind of want to talk about it as well. So I'm looking at it last night, and we start with the injury report on the Detroit side of things. I don't think anybody was listed, just Ron Hollins, who's listed as questionable. And then on the Utah side of things, they will be pretty healthy outside of Gorgeous Niang, who is listed as out for this game. He's been out for the most recent games anyway, though. So a couple things kind of jumped out to me. So you got Detroit, who hasn't been necessarily the greatest team, like as far as covering numbers. They're 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. Utah's 5-5 against the number. We know that the Jazz typically get up for games at home. They're 11-6 against the number. Detroit 7-7-1 on the road so far. So I remember last year the Jazz were getting 4.5 points in Detroit, and they won that game outright, 126-119. Now this Detroit team is a lot better, than last year. I do remember Utah getting out to a very, very big lead, and Detroit coming back in that game. It was 48-19, December 19th, 2024. So about a year and a week ago. Since then, Detroit has played Utah twice, and they steamrolled them in both games. 134-106 at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the calendar year. So when they went back and got their revenge in Utah, they beat them 134-106. And then most recently, they played early this season. Detroit was laying 10. They won the game by 11 in Detroit. So 114-104, and that game did stay under the total. 7-3 are the totals in the last 10 games, though. So Detroit does find themselves, third game of a 5-game road trip. They beat Portland in the game that Cade got ejected and got a push in that game, and then they go to Sacramento the next night, and they end up beating the Kings by 9, and they were laying 10 in that spot. So like I said, they haven't really covered these numbers. They got a game against the Clippers coming up, and then they finish off against the Lakers. They get a day of rest off after this game. Then on the Utah side of things, they came home on the second leg of a back-to-back. They lost in Denver, never really was in that game. And then they lost to Memphis as well, lost that game by 9. They were getting 6.5 points in that game. So the thing with the Jazz, though, is like, I think you just take the over, you stay out the way. And I mean, it's a couple of different ways you can quantify this. They're 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games. And I want to matter of fact, I want to show you guys this real quick, because this is what I was looking at last night. I do think that this is one of the games that the over trend absolutely can favor here. So this is Give Me the Dog. So we look at the Jazz and we just type in home. Yes, they covered numbers. They're 12-5 against the spread. You can see it right here. But 13-4 to the over. This is what really stuck out to me. These games, you can see right here, they have an average total of 237 points pretty much. And they're going over by 19 points. So on an average total of 236, these games are finishing 255. And that's what I kind of like in this game. I think Detroit, will be able to score the basketball. I have no doubt Detroit will be able to score the ball. When I started this cap last night, it actually started with Detroit team total over, just because the Jazz defense is so bad. It was 126.5. Look at this. The Grizzlies scored 137. The Magic scored 128. Granted, this was in overtime. You can see that right here. But the Lakers scored 143. The Mavericks scored 133. The Thunder scored 131. The Rockets scored 125. The Rockets scored 129. I mean, like, I can keep going on and on and on. So I know that the Pistons will be able to score the basketball. The question is, you got to ask yourself, are the Jazz going to be able to score the basketball against Detroit? And I would say yes. Their team total for today, the Utah Jazz, is 116.5. You can see that they got to 128 against the Grizzlies. This is on the second leg of a back-to-back. 127 against the Magic. This wasn't overtime. Lakers 135. Mavericks 140. Thunder, best defense in the league until they play against the Spurs. They only got to 101. Against the Rockets, 133. So yeah, I think that they will be able to score. I think the total is a tad bit too low. Like I said, these games are flying over the total, 13-4 to the over. So 77% of the time, these games are going over the total. 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games to the over at home. And like I said, they're flying over the number, man. So Lloyd Marketing is back. I like the over in this game. I think 244 is still too low. Both teams should be able to score the basketball. The Detroit Pistons should be able to get to 130 in this game as well. So that's my thought process on this one. Over, best number you can get is 244 on 243.5 on DraftKings right now is what I see as the best number. And I haven't bet it yet because I just want to make sure, nobody's going to be ruled out, that type of thing. But yeah, I think we see fireworks in this game, and both teams will be able to score. So that's my thought process. Last game I really wanted to go over as well. All right, so now I'll go through the comments, move over to Q&A, and then we'll get out of here, man. Let's see. Diabate over his boards for Fahrenheit. What else should I say? What up, Bet at Your Own Risk? Says, what's good, Chris? What's good, chat? I hope you've been doing well, man. Cash throwing some slips last night. I've got Ivy scoring 8 points tonight on the road at Utah. It makes sense. Detroit money line smash. I mean, I hope they're able to win if they land 10 on the road. Kate assists. I thought about that as well, Dougie Bone. His assists are actually open at 10.5 in this game. He should be able to get 15 if he really wanted to. We'll see how locked in Detroit is. And remember, the games after Christmas typically favor the road team, because they had to spend Christmas on the road, whereas the home team, had a whole lot going on. I think that's one of the reasons why the Knicks can never cover on Christmas, is because it's a lot going on when you're at the crib. I think the only home team that covered last night was Denver and Golden State. And we talked about it being a terrible spot for, the Dallas Mavericks. It was fourth game in 6 nights for them on the road. And then Anthony Day-to-Day Davis didn't finish the game either. So, Golden State was able to cover in that game. And they were actually playing better when AD was in. Let's see. Love K Love, Lloyd Marketing, Durant, and Nurkic all to go over their rebounds. Okay. What up, AOD? Appreciate you for tapping in, my brother. Fahrenheit says Kate assists are an obvious look. Ren is extremely high though. Yeah, 10.5 is a lot, but he should be able to get it. The Jazz actually, like, if you go and look like just at K's matchup, I'll tell you guys what it looks like real quick. It was at 10.5 last night. Let's see. All right, so K is I actually looked at his rebounds too, but his assists is at 10.5. It is plus 108. He's coming off a game where he had 14 against the Sacramento Kings. And now he gets a Jazz team that gives up more assists than any team in the NBA. K gets so many of his assists from everywhere on the floor. 25% come from the three-point line, and the Jazz are the worst three-point defense in the NBA. He gets another 15% in the mid-range, and the Jazz are the worst team in the mid-range as well. And then he gets about half of his assists at the rim, though. And the Jazz are fifth in rim as far as like protecting the rim. So I guess that's the hole you can kind of poke in it. But I think this is going to be a pace-up game. It's going to be played with pace. So I would be looking towards the over on Cade over his assists as well. I think he can get that. Even at 10.5, I think he can get it against this Jazz team. Sneaky K triple-double spot. I agree with that. Pistons been cashing for me, but the Jazz, the ass at plus 9.5 will keep this game close, close and score plenty of buckets. Okay, yeah, so that's why I like over. Jazz do give up threes. Look at Duncan Robinson. Yeah, Duncan Robinson threes are probably juice in this spot. He is their best shooter. I'm pretty sure that line is juice. So Duncan Robinson sitting at 11.5 points. He's actually over in 2 of his last 3 games. He did go under against the Kings, shot just 3 for 7 from the field. He gets probably the best matchup on the board today. 58% of his points in catch and shoot, and they are 29th against catch and shoot in general. His 3-point prop at 2.5. It's juiced all the way to the over at -140. You can get a -135, -134 on Pinnacle, -135 on BetMGM. Duncan Robinson to hit 3 threes. You can pencil that one in for sure. He's over in 19 of his 24 games so far this season. That's 79%. He's over in 3 straight games against the Hornets, the Trailblazers, and the Kings. Looks like, this is elite scoring opportunities here. Transition, spot up. That's bread and butter for somebody like Duncan Robinson. So long as he didn't do nothing too crazy last night, coming to this game sober, he should be able to have a good day today. All right, let's go to Q&A. Y'all got questions? If you do, put them in the chat, and I'll go through them for a few minutes, and then I'm getting up off of here. This actually took longer than I thought. I haven't bet anything yet either, Prolific, but I gave you guys a couple looks that I am looking to play. Teller says K landed on 10 assists and 10 assists 8 times this year. He hasn't paid to play his Jazz defense that many times though. Jazz defense is so bad, man. It's so bad. It's the gift that keeps giving. I just showed you guys. Go back and look at what I just showed. As far as points that they've been giving up. Luka got 14 assists against this defense. James Harden got 11 assists against this defense. Luka did land on 10 assists one time, but I think that game was at home. Yeah, because they won by 14. And then the game that he did go under. Is this his prop in one game as well? Let's see. What do you think about the Clippers over Portland? No Zubac, but the Blazers missing key pieces as well. Yeah, it's an interesting game, Jay Carter. I was thinking about this game really a lot last night. So, every game, just so you guys know too, every game should start with situational stuff, in my opinion, right? It's not as easy as just looking at the matchups. That's what they want you to think. Clippers not been good on the road, 7-9 against the numbers. Portland 7-4-2 against the spread at home. But you mentioned it, right? I like the spot for the Portland in both of their last 2 games. I like the spot against Detroit. They did end up getting a push in that game. I like the spot against Orlando. They end up getting a push in that game as well. So they still are currently, quote unquote, undefeated against the number at home, because I think they're 7-0-2 if they are home dogs so far this season. But they are missing too many players, because typically what we see with Detroit, with Portland at home, is they score the basketball. They've actually played in 3 straight unders, and we know that they've been shorthanded without Jeremy Grant. They get tomorrow off before going to Boston. This is their 3rd straight home game. And the Clippers, back-to-back wins. They smoked the Lakers. They smoked the Houston Rockets. They have been playing a much better basketball. And I think, going and looking at the injury report, I think that's the way that I would look at this one again. Brook Lopez has come in even without Zubac and, played pretty well. You got James Harden, Chris Dunn, Kawhi Leonard. They're playing some defense, and their shots are finally starting to fall. I think they shot 54% against the Clippers in that last game. And Portland, they're going to be missing, Drew Holiday, and, Jeremy Grant continues to be out. Robert Williams is questionable. Chris Dunn is listed as questionable. I do think that, the Clippers should be able to win this game. I'm not a big Clippers guy. I think most of y'all probably know that, but I probably would look at the Clippers, probably on the money line if I'm playing that game. You can get a -120, it looks like, on FanDuel right now. I think the Clippers should be able to win that game on the road. No, they haven't been great laying points on the road. I know that just right off the dome. Let's see. They are 4-9 straight up, 2-11 against the number when they're laying points, and they failed to cover 4 straight. They've actually played under in 4 straight as well. And road favorites, 1-3 straight up, 1-3 against the number. Lost to the Jazz to start the season, lost to the Warriors outright, got smoked in that game, and the only win came against the Mavs. They did beat did lose to the Grizzlies as well. So don't really like the Clippers laying too many points. Could it be a trap game? Absolutely. That's why I stayed away from it. But I think the Clippers, they could potentially go on a little run. I don't like this Portland Trailblazers without, all the pieces that they're missing. It's one thing to be missing a couple guys, but when you Drew Holiday, Matisse Thybulle, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams is questionable. Chris Murray is listed as questionable, and he was the guy that's going to start for Jeremy Grant. So, yeah, that's my thought process there. Maybe consider taking the over the Jazz to cover at 6.5 in the first half. Pistons are 2-2 last 4 road games, and the Jazz are 4-0 to the last 4. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because because if the Jazz are going to lose, it's probably going to be in the second half. Detroit's been one of the better second half teams as well. Let's see. What up, Dom? Says what to do, Chris Chat. Really like the Grizzlies team total over 116. I feel like the Bucks defense is an absolute fade on the road without Giannis. Thoughts? I think that they've been playing too slow, Dom, in my opinion. That's what would scare me. So let's see real quick. And I mean, they got a pretty convincing win, I guess, in that last game. Who did the Grizzlies beat right before the break? They beat your Pacers. That's who it was. Smoked the Pacers. Let's see. So for the Grizzlies to get to 116, Grizzlies offensive rating is 5th in the NBA. 7th in the NBA last 5 games. 118.4. Defensive rating is 116. They have played the 13th strongest strength of schedule. The Bucks defense last 5 games is actually 110.3, which is 6th. They had a better defense than Memphis. And as far as pace goes, like I said, Memphis. I know Milwaukee's playing slow. They're 24th in pace over their last 5 games. In road games in general, they're 19th in pace. They're the 3rd worst offense in the last 5 games as well, against the 14th strongest strength of schedule. So the Bucks have been playing unders, and I don't really want to mess with the Grizzlies. And we got to wait on the injury report, because I did see that they got a couple guys listed as questionable. Ja could potentially come back today. Cedric Coward's listed as questionable. So I don't know if those guys are going to play. Like, I have no idea. I didn't look too deeply into the injury report. So that's my thought there. Brian says, what advice can you give me as far as growing my YouTube channel and creating a community? For me, Fahrenheit, when I get DMs like this, like, I just tell you what I tell everybody else, man. I think you just got to, be yourself. People just gonna naturally attract to, you. You're gonna find like people that attract to you and that like, your style and the way that you bet. But also, like, be a information sharer. Like, I don't gatekeep anything. Like, I find stuff. And that's how I got started. I was like, man, like, I would listen to people that was, sharing advice. And I'm like, man, where they get all this information from? So I think people that come to my show, people that, really, rock with me, I think they all enjoy that I, just share information. Like, I spend tons of time researching the games and looking at the player props. So I think you got to find ways to add value to people. And when you do, you're whatever you're doing in life, it don't matter, like Jeff Bezos and, Elon Musk, they found value to ways to add value to people's lives. Not that I'm doing it on their scale, but I think you just got to find ways to add value. That's what I think. 77 Figure says, Chris, do you agree that the Clippers probably are the hardest team to handicap in the NBA? Yes, absolutely. They should have got steamrolled against Houston. They won the game outright by won't even close. And they'll probably lose to Portland outright today. Yeah, I do agree with that. If they're gonna go on a run though, maybe. But I can't. The Clippers, and for me, the Clippers and the Hornets. Because the Hornets, like, I need the Hornets getting double digits to even consider them. The Hornets. Man, the Hornets are a hard team to handicap as well. The Hornets, the Clippers, based on today's schedule, the Heat right now, the Raptors, like, teams just kind of going through it. You don't know when they're going to turn it on. Like, in my thought process, absolutely 7-7 Prolific says, how are Wizards in the first quarter? I think they've been profitable in the first quarter overall, but I don't have the ATS numbers in front of me. Clippers are trash. TJ McConnell over his 12.5 points and assists, been balling lately, 22-24. I was looking into him last night, Tyler, actually. Like, I was looking at his points specifically. I think he was at 7.5. I couldn't get there, but it does make a lot of sense. I mean, you got quick revenge here against Boston. I considered the under. I think the total has come all the way down to 221.5. That total the other day was like 227.5, I think. I was looking at some Siakam unders. Indiana's just, man, they're god awful. I watched Pascal Siakam, talk about the loss to the Bucks, and he was just saying after the game that, until they come in and they, want to do the small things right, they're gonna keep losing. So I'm not sure if they'll wake up in this game or not. I don't want Boston laying this big of a number on the road, though. I'll tell you that. And I keep saying that because I really respect the Pacers. Like, I respect Rick Carlisle a lot. He's still looking for his 1,000th win. Indiana just not. I don't really want to keep fading them. They are fade, but I don't want to keep fading them because I know eventually they're gonna they're gonna turn up. I also consider Benedict Mathurin under his points prop. He's just like, I don't know, just extremely inefficient, not really taking a bunch of shots. I'm not sure what's going on in Benedict Mathurin's head. But yeah, I consider Benedict Mathurin under his points prop in that game as well. I didn't talk about it on the show, but I didn't talk about that game. But yeah, he's been somebody that's been. Matter of fact, look at this real quick. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you something. Look at Benedict Mathurin last few games. He listed at 17.5. He's been under it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games, 7, 8 of his last 10, averaging just 15. Terrible matchup. You can see Boston gives up the second fewest points. And he's shooting the ball pretty terrible, 39%. You can see he's not even taking a bunch of shots. Only 10 shots here, 20 shots against Boston in this game. He shot terrible from the field, 7 for 20, 7 for 18 here. Like, I don't know, 3-point percentage not there, like 34%. Has failed to exceed 17.5 in 4 of his last 5 games versus top 10 defenses. So this was something I had on my short list. You can see Boston's defense has been pretty good against these guys here. It looks like, I don't know how many unders that is, but it's only 2 overs in this sample size here. It looks like it's 7. So 7-2 to the under. I consider Benedict Mathurin under his points prop. That's what jumped out to me when I started my handicap with TJ McConnell. All right, couple more questions, and then I'm getting out of here. Let's see. What up, Justin? Appreciate you for tapping in. Prestigious Prodigy, my guy. Shay says 40 likes, 75 of us watching. Hit the like button, man. Appreciate that. Sammy says nobody on YouTube ever adds value, and this is probably enough to go ahead and let me get you up out of here, man. The energy is not that great. I feel like this is the second time. I'm gonna just go ahead and I don't like that energy. I'm gonna just ban you. So I'll see you in the next world, or when the next time you make another account. Let's see. Clippers dog walk of the day. Dougie Bone says. Fahrenheit says, Chris, your information destination. Thank you, brother. You're definitely adding value to people's lives. Hardest working man in the business. Appreciate that, man. Dom says Pacers simply aren't trying, and I love Mathurin, but it would surprise me if he's a Pacers next season, writing all over the wall, especially if we land a top 3 pick, which is crazy, man. Benedict Mathurin got so much upside, but I know y'all didn't extend him this year. So, all right, it looks like that's all the question. The things that we talked about here, and there's a couple that I would add as well, based on what we talked about in this last game, like Benedict Mathurin under. But Scotty Barnes double-double, I like a lot. You can still get it at plus money. Charlotte plus the points was on here, but like I said, without a center, this is what I wrote down last night. Without a center, I don't know if I can get the Charlotte plus the points. Like no Cockburner, no Plumlee. I mean, they were giving it. Remember Charlotte? They were playing against the Cavs right before the break, and they got absolutely smoked in that game. Gave up 140 points in that game. So no center, no Hornets for me. But the over, I think, makes a lot of sense. Charlotte, Orlando over. I think we said over 232 was the number. And it's a high total. I completely understand. But Orlando's offense should be able to get right against Charlotte. Charlotte should be able to score as well. And if Orlando's playing with pace, maybe we see that game go over the total. 232 is a big number. But then again, I told you guys on Christmas, the day after Christmas, totals of 23 and 10 to the over, 70% last 10 games. Since after COVID season. I didn't talk about Peyton Pritchard, but if the Indiana Pacers are going to play any resemblance of defense, I think Peyton Pritchard could struggle. I'm not going to bring it up now, but Peyton Pritchard has he's in a pretty tough matchup, and he did go under his points prop in the last game as well. So real quick, I'll give you guys a cap on that one. So he's actually juiced to the over 125 and minus 125, but I'll be looking at Peyton under. He is you can get this at minus 102 on DraftKings. Peyton Pritchard is actually under his points prop in 6 of his last 7 games. And the way that he scores the basketball, catch and shoot, the Pacers are the 3rd best defense. Granted, they are trash, but they're the 3rd best defense in catch and shoot. And Peyton Pritchard just wants to take a bunch of spot up shots. The Pacers are top 10 in spot up defense as well. So I do heavily consider Peyton Pritchard under his 15.5 points. And then we talked about Detroit, Utah over the 244. I think we see fireworks in that game today as well. So yeah, a bunch of work I still got to do on the card if I get a chance to go through a few of these other games. But these are the ways that I'm thinking about today's games, man. As far as tomorrow goes, is another big slate. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games for tomorrow as well. So I'll finish going through today's card, and then I'll jump on tomorrow's card as well, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If I do make official plays, I'll send them out to the members. Hopefully we can stay hot. And yeah, check the resources out there, listed in the description. JaXon, Outlier, Moneyballer, OddsJam. Use the referral link so you guys can save a little coin on these if you're interested in trying them out. And yeah, that'll be it for the show, man. Best of luck on your action for today. Happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man.